Hello, nerds. Welcome back to another episode of the New Block Nerds podcast. I'm your host, Chris, a.k.a. Prince, with the homie Darron, a.k.a. Medic Grizzly. Darron, how we feeling?
Doing good, B. How you feeling?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Listeners, we completely apologize for last week not having an episode. The holidays kind of got in the way. Darron and I had a lot of personal things that we had to take care of, so had to push the pod back a week. But we are back to dive back into Secret Invasion. Since we missed episode 2, this is going to be more of a kind of a mid-season review, since we're halfway through the series now. And there's been a lot of tomfoolery going on the last couple of weeks here in Secret Invasion. So, Darron, I want to come to you first with the question that's on everyone's mind. Rhodey's a Skrull?
Yeah, I think he's been a Skrull since Civil War.
See, that was going to be my follow-up question.
We talked about this before. Civil War. When he actually got shot out and he actually was laid out and Tony was holding him, I think what happened in that point in time was a switch happened. Because even, think about this. When they had the meeting and Don was going off on Nick, he was letting Nick know, yo, I'm the boss, bro. You just here. You got the old news. But he called that man Nick. No one calls him Nick. He called him Fury. He called him Nick, clear as day. And then they tried overlapping Marvel, and Nick started laughing about it. And then he went off on his little spill. But we didn't overlap. You called that man Nick. What you think?
I'm so glad you brought that up. I've seen some other people bring it up too, and that has been the telltale sign way back to Captain Marvel, when Fury could tell when someone was not who they said they were because they called him Nick. So in hindsight, again, hindsight's 2020, but looking at that exchange, the first time I watched it, I didn't even pick it up. I'm just Nick, whatever. His name is Nick Fury. Everyone knows that. But I don't think that is lost on Fury. I think Fury recognized that, but he just played along with it.
And he played it on so well. He got to the point where he was, angry and, you gonna fire me. Even when I'm out, I'm in. Trying to make it seem as if, I'm disgruntled that you guys want to release me. But at the same time, I'm invested more than you guys think. Even showing him afterwards, saying with his hands on top of his head, yo, he just stressed out. Because the person he thought that was going to be there is not there. It reminded you of the train station when he found out there's a million Skrulls running around. He's like, yo, this is slipping through the cracks. People I thought I can depend on find out that I can't.
Right. Yeah, I think, and this is something that I have personally believed throughout these first 3 episodes, is all this talk about Fury being behind the 8 ball, not the same, and being changed by the blip and everything else. Fury has shown us time after time after time that he is ahead of the curve. And I think this is going to prove to be another example. I feel like by the end of this series, Fury's going to pull something out of his ass where we're going to be like, oh my God, this guy's always playing 4-dimensional chess. And we just, why do we continue to doubt this man? That's just what I feel. Maybe that's just my bias for Samuel L. Jackson because he's awesome. But yeah. I think Fury is much more tapped into what's going on than he's letting on, which makes perfect sense because of how just the nature of how these Skrulls move. Don't forget, I mean, he's been working with them for decades. It's not like their abilities and the way that they move is new to him.
True.
Nick Fury has always been that guy that always holds on to more information than he shares. Otherwise, he wouldn't be who he is today.
All right, bro. So, flashback. When I got married, the night before the wedding, all the guys got together. We were playing a game called Ultimate Alliance.
Yes.
Do you remember that game? Okay.
I remember it fondly. And those of you who were there, looking at you, Cardell and Nigel, this has nothing to do with the Netflix show, but Iron Fist is an absolute cheat code in that game.
Very much so.
The dude is a god. We're getting off topic, but I have to say that. Continue, please.
So, storyline, not sure if Ultimate Alliance 1 or Ultimate Alliance 2, but a story mode had Nick Fury, or sometimes we actually try to like get angry at him and try to kill him, and end up being an AI robot. It actually wasn't him. I personally think that the Nick Fury that's down there right now is not actually Nick Fury. I think it's actually AI. I personally think that Nick Fury is up top. This is my game of chess and what he does. I could be completely wrong for this. I think what happened was right. I think the Thanos, the blip, changed him. It changed him completely, and you realize that I could be going like this. And it made him almost to the point where I got to stay ahead of the game. If it were to ever happen again, I'm not going to be there. It'll be a decoy. And that's what the video game basically touched on a lot, that he wasn't always there, that he was always everywhere and had so many different spies. You can say Skrulls, kind of same thing, but that's just my like dark horse. Like you said, pull a rabbit later on. I think that's going to be it. I could be completely wrong, but that's what I'm thinking, because it went back to the video game of Ultimate Alliance 2.
Darron, I can always count on you to make some wild hot take. But here's the thing:
just saying,
I don't hate it. I don't hate it, and that's a super deep cut. I'm not even sure if there's any even like comic book precedence for something like that off the top of my head. But
the problem is I haven't read a lot of those that even know every detail of it. But I play the video games, bro.
Yeah, so that is something that Fury would do, right? That would be some shit where we would be like, oh, of course, Fury's not actually there. He just he sent this little droid down there, if you want to call it that, to just do all his bidding the same way he sent the Skrulls down there to do all his bidding for the last couple of decades.
He's
right?
never
go ahead.
He's never actually been really front line ever. Even in the Avengers, he's always had, if you want to play chess, he's always had pawns, bishops, knights. He's always had someone else to do the work for him. So why would this be different?
And I'm glad you bring that up, because him and Talos, they have a pretty heated argument about that on their way to the Commodore, where Talos is pretty much telling him like, hey man, you're only where you are because of what we've done for you. You weren't on the front lines when you needed someone to go get some dirt, when you needed someone to do this, infiltrate this place, do this task. It was us who did that for you,
bro.
So to that point,
that cut deep right there.
It did cut deep, and you could tell it really cut deep for Fury. Which is why I feel like Fury feels like this mission is so personal for him, because I feel like in a way he does feel like he has failed some of the Skrulls, right? Because he did promise them 30 years ago that he was going to help them find a home, and all they've been doing since they've been on Earth is fighting our battles for us in the shadows, pretty much.
And even like when like Hydra was mentioned, and they were like, well, yeah, if Hydra was green and had a million of them going around, it just tells you that the Skrulls were always there, dude. So they do deserve another planet. And then you also understand that why Gravik feels the way he feels. He feels that you used us. You feel like you haven't kept your word. That is always war after war on reason why you can't get to us. So how about we just eliminate everybody? Even like to the point where like when they were going to do the whole mission and launch, and how they had 3 people infiltrate the actual Navy and the whole key system and actually going to shoot, like they were thinking legit plans to knock human society out of here so they can do what they need to do. They already got their planet. They just need us out the way. And they're dead serious about it. And it's like, I kind of understand. I do. Because humankind is never going to change.
It's one of those things that Gravik said, and I forget what episode it was, but you know, when he's meeting the Skrull Council and they're criticizing him, you know, about acting like an animal, like a dog, and he's like, I quite like dogs, actually. He said, you know, they're nothing like humans. They don't put each other in cages. I mean, look how they treat each other, right? And again, this is one of those kind of like Killmonger Thanos things where, not saying that I agree with him, but I could understand where someone like Gravik gets to this point of thinking, especially 30 years of kind of waiting on Fury to deliver for them, right? At some point, he's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll do it.
Yeah, and like on top of that, it also tells you how, because Gravik's been under Nick Fury, he has plans and plans. So when the council acts like, if the Avengers come back, what's going to happen? Well, I got a plan for that too. That's a Nick Fury answer. Absolutely Nick Fury answer. And then you have mentioned the Super Skrulls. You called it. And I personally, everybody likes the Fantastic Four traditional comic book way of getting the Super Skrulls. I actually like this touch. Actually, because it shows the actual history of Marvel and how when Groot came down to Earth, and it shows that the scientists and other people have slowly been getting data this entire time. And then using it against them for events that took place down there is brilliant. And knowing that Gravik's actually saying that they've always been around, they know that Groot was here, they know they get different. Like, it even goes back to Iron Man 3, the abomination that freaking movie was. It even ties that into this whole thing. It just lets everyone know that I've been here the whole time. My question for you that I want to know is that when he got stabbed with the knife, and then you seen how his hand reacted, what was your first reaction?
I kind of knew they were going to use that like moment to kind of show us that he has the Super Skrull powers, because we saw him kind of like listed out. That one was Extremis, right, with the healing and the the just the effects. I'm kind of with you on. I like how they kind of changed the Super Skrull's powers, because it just continues to build on what we've already seen in the past in the MCU and moving forward with like Armor Wars, right? Where, think back to Spider-Man Homecoming. That's how Vulture became Vulture, because he was going around to all the Avengers battles, fallouts, collecting this alien tech, making weapons out of it, selling it, right? He ain't the only person doing that.
Facts.
You get what I'm saying? I mean, that's been something that has been hinted at again and again and again in the MCU, right? So, like, of course, if Groot comes down to Earth, or Cole Obsidian, his hand gets sliced off, someone's picking that up. Obviously, the Avengers are not picking that up right in the moment, because they're in the middle of trying to literally save humanity and the whole universe, right? Yes. But someone's there to clean that shit up. And knowing the governments of the world, especially seeing all these superpowered beings, they're going to try and level the playing field a little bit, right? So it tells me that they're really going to like take this up to 11 when we get to Armor Wars 2, with all this just extra stuff just laying around, whether it's alien tech or Stark tech left over, or just things Avengers have just left behind in the heat of battle. But dude, a guy like Gravik is the last person you want to have these powers, because, and we've seen in the trailer him kind of using some of those abilities, I think, when they try to assassinate the US president, which he's not long for the world. We've only got 3 episodes left. It might happen in the next one, honestly. But yeah, I think if they had immediate plans to introduce Fantastic Four, maybe they would have done it a little bit more comic book accurate. But this makes better sense for this particular story, like where we are in the MCU. So
it's, again, Marvel playing a long game. They're playing a long game, and they're letting the fans know that their history matters. Like, what they going back and seeing, like, somebody probably popped in Iron Man 3. I'm like, Extremis, what is that? Just to go back and watch that. They probably shouldn't, but just to go back and watch it.
No, don't go back and watch that. It's terrible.
But also, let's go and tell you, like, even more layers of this. Why Gravik is so freaking... He's lethal, bro. You're telling me Nick Fury has a wife, and then Nick Fury's wife is a Skrull, and then the Skrull is the one that introduced Gravik to Nick Fury, and then you go bye-bye voluntarily after that, you basically say that I don't want to be a husband no more. So she goes back to her old ways, which wasn't Gravik. And then you expect, like, you suspect something's happening. So you ask, hey, you talk to your old man back? You talk to your buddy? Because, like, you know who brought that to the table.
Right.
It's just so many things happening. So who knows Nick better? The wife? And then you have, like, a baby son? And then you have that person now being angry with the world and using all the spy resources against the actual world? Oh, President's out of here. He's gone.
Oh yeah,
no question about it.
He's not long for the world. And I do think just the way that Fury asked her straight up, pretty much like, "What have you been doing since I've been gone?" He's not dumb. Like I think when he chose to go home, he was fully expecting what she ends up doing at the end of episode 3 for her to do. I don't think that's going to come as a surprise to Fury. It just doesn't. It would be uncharacteristic of him to trust someone that much, wife or not. She's still a Skrull. I don't even know if she was a human being, if that would make him trust her more or less, because we're talking about Nick Fury here. He trusts no one. And
that's another reason why I think they're AI, because like I'm now learning like videos and stuff like that, right? When you see this scene, I'm seeing of him actually focusing on the cell phone. He had those glasses on. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. And we also the same glasses that could tell the marks on the back of the bags in episode 1 and how he knew they were. I feel like he scanned the actual phone. Just want to put that out there. That's just like, I'm just picking up on little details of what's going on. Maybe it's like me fishing. I don't know.
Maybe. But I mean,
it just seems like it's something he would do. And like, I can just like, yeah, I knew this. I'm Nick Fury. What's up?
I mean, and that's the thing. Like, it is something that Fury would do. Like, I mean, I don't put anything past this dude. I don't put any kind of, oh, he had this. Like, if they came out in episode 5 or 6 and they were like, oh, Fury's had this secret plot going this whole time, I would be like, of course you did. Of course you did, because he's Fury.
Would you be mad?
Why wouldn't he?
Would you be mad though?
No.
Okay.
I would fully expect it. I would fully expect it. Fury is like, if Fury is almost like the MCU's version of like Batman if he was head of the CIA.
Oh,
like he's got a plan. He's got a way out for every and any situation that comes across, because he has that little trust in the people around him, even the people that he calls allies.
Yes. Like I totally agree with you. So let me ask you a question. Well, the trailer shows you that she's not dead. It shows she got shot at the end of the episode. But but it shows that she's not dead. So between Gaia and Talos, like Talos has been going at Nick, like almost like an Iron Man, Captain America relationship. Like Tony, they were going at each other. Like, yo, you can't pull your BS on me. I know you. Stop it. We also see he has like a step slower. He's not what he used to be, and everyone's calling him out. Oh, General of Old. Do you think he's going to live to the end of the series?
Who, Talos?
Yeah. And when he finds out about his daughter, what do you think? What do you think is going to happen?
I think Talos is going to die. I think Guy is going to live, and Talos is going to die.
Okay.
I think Talos's whole, not his whole thing, but a large part of his story arc in this series has been trying to like reconnect and bring his daughter back over fully, because she's working as kind of like a double agent. She was kind of with Gravik at the beginning, but as each episode passes, she's getting more and more away from Gravik. Obviously, he just fucking shot her, so I don't think she's going to be much of an ally to him. I think there will be some kind of sacrifice for Talos, because he's already lost his wife, Gaia's mom. He's not going to allow, if he's got a chance to die for her, to save her life, which I think, they're all in danger, right? I think he's gonna take that chance 100%. I think that's going to be part of his story arc, and I do think that they have plans for Guy's character moving forward. Like I do think there's going to be some good Skrulls left over after all this is said and done, and I think she's going to be one of the ones that's going to be maybe Fury's next kind of inside person, right hand person that's going to fill Maria Hill's spot. R.I.P. to Maria Hill.
Yes, I don't think she's going either, bro. I don't think she's going.
She might not be. Who knows?
If my theory is correct and they are AI robots, I think she may be, which is probably like, whatever. If anybody else were to have an AI robot replacement, it would be her because she's under Nick Fury. But anyway, so when we asked the first question on episode 1 was the theory, how do they get their memories and how do they transfer the skin of the bodies, everything else? This episode explored a little more to it. That guy actually went back there and searched for memory to find the code, and like found out being the guy's son, his name. So they're still there in their pods. Even the everyone's there. They're still there. So their leaked photo that came out a long time ago that no one really paid attention to. It's supposed to be like, I guess, an after credit for Wakanda Forever, but it got scratched from that whole thing. We saw a Dr. Doom, and we've seen the laboratory type atmosphere that we see currently there right now.
Mm-hmm.
Where Gaia went to, we see the exact same nurses, doctor there, everything. Do you think we are going to get Dr. Doom in this series?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. And I'm going to say why, but there was another series that's going to contradict what I say.
Okay.
I don't think so because I don't think a character that big will make an appearance, their first appearance in a TV show.
Okay.
But I'm going to contradict myself here because we first saw Kang in Loki.
I didn't even know it.
Didn't even know. I had no idea it was coming. Had no idea it was coming.
Man.
So I don't know. I don't know if it's more of a I really want them to introduce Dr. Doom, or I think they will, but I'm gonna go with no. I'm gonna say this is going to be more of a contained Nick Fury story.
Okay.
Than anything else. I don't. It may lean a little bit into like Armor Wars, like it may give us a little bit of a hint into Armor Wars. But outside of that, I just don't see how Dr. Doom would play into this story. Like, what does he have to gain from this?
Okay. So this is what I am thinking. So this is for my brief history of comics, and people know Marvel had a very rough patch. They had to sell a lot of their parts. They had to get different publishing since X, Y, and Z. So much to the point that back in the day, Stan Lee, one of his babies was Fantastic Four. That was a true, like, that's why every movie they try to push it to be great, and it just hasn't worked out. Fantastic Four is like one of Stan Lee's greatest comic creators that he personally put time into. I think it's really, really important that they get reintroduced into this actual MCU. And I think the best way to do it is through a TV show, but not during the actual episodes. I think what's going to happen is the conclusion, Nick Fury and then win. Cut, end scene, last episode is that end post shot of Gravik going back to the actual lab when no one's there, and then Doom pops up there. And then cut scene. It's going to make the freaking internet go crazy. Everybody like, yo, Doom's here. But there is no more episodes. So you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to pop up. That's just my taste of that whole thing.
If that happens, I will shit my pants.
But think about it, the timing. That's what I think, because I just think that's going to work. If you bring them in beforehand, you kind of water down Gravik. You water down Super Skrulls. But if you bring them in after everything's done, and then who can top Nick Fury, and then you bring Dr. Doom, bro.
Here's my only reason why I would say, yeah, it's a possibility. I do think that they have their fantastic forecastings. They just haven't announced it yet.
Freaking
And I think the reason why they backed out of Comic-Con this year is because they're doing all their announcements at D23 later on this year. And I think they just want all the spotlight to be on this big Fantastic Four announcement. I think that's more. There's no way we go into 2024 without Fantastic Four news. I'm calling it right now. I will bet any amount of money that they're going to give us an announcement at D23.
So use exactly what you just said. Boom, and put what I just said. Cutscene, graphic, doom, cutscene. Next is D23.
And that's the one reason why I'm like, all right.
That's perfect freaking timing.
Because there's not another show that drops between now and D23, right?
I don't know. I'm hearing bad things about Echo. I'm hearing that Echo has to be reshot. Like it's not a good story. Yeah. But you also got to take things with a grain of salt. You don't know what's really legit. They kind of put things out there to send people different directions.
Yeah.
This is Marvel. So
yeah.
But let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Nick Fury's wife.
Okay.
Well, I'd be ex-wife. I'm not sure. And then you see the future scenes of her and Gaia back to back, Army of Two style, blasting everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
You saw her go for the gun. Who's that gun for?
It's a good question. It's got to be for Fury, right? It's got to be for Fury.
Because she don't believe that Fury is Fury? Do you ever thought about that? Maybe she knows that that's not Nick Fury?
No, I think Gravik thinks that she's in a prime position to kill Fury, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think they might be moving a little bit too arrogantly, thinking that it's just going to be as easy as, oh, Nick Fury married a Skrull. Why don't we just get his wife to kill him?
Mm-hmm.
Nick Fury willingly and knowingly married a Skrull. Do you think it's going to be that fucking easy? People have been trying to kill Nick Fury for decades. I think he's going to sniff it out. I think he's going to sniff it out. Like we said, especially with her talking to Rhodey on the phone at the end of that episode.
Yo, that was definitely him.
He called him Nick, which we know Fury picks up, and he knows, right? He knows that that's a tell. So I think that he knows that Rhodey is a Skrull, right? So he already doesn't trust him, and he clearly does not trust his wife. So I don't think they're going to catch him off guard as much as they think they are. I think Fury is letting them think that he's flustered and he's in a corner and he's got nowhere to go. And it might be partially true, but if we know Fury, he's always got some shit up his sleeve. And I have faith in him to.
All right, bro. I got some more things I got to get my chest. Maybe just me. Maybe I'm thinking too much into it. Like Marvel wouldn't give us the same trick twice in our face and play with us twice. Go back to Nick Fury cutting sandwiches. We overlooked it. We all overlooked that. Corners, everyone overlooked it. Now let's focus on when the wife mentioned what kind of eggs are those. Nick knows when she said scrambled, they said poach. I think there's certain things that she knows that he would not do. I think she knows that's not Nick.
That's a very good observation.
I'm just saying.
Because what did he say to, I think it was Maria Hill in that restaurant or that pub they were in, and she was like, tell me something so bizarre and unique about yourself that a Skrull wouldn't be able to replicate. And he was like, if a sandwich is cut in corners, I can't eat it. Or some shit he said like that. It tells you that food, the same thing twice. They focus on the eggs, they focus on the cell phone, and they also focus on the ring. And how she didn't even say a word, she just said the ring gesture. I feel like she knows that's not him. I just feel like she knows that's not him. I could be overthinking it. I don't know, but just because the thing is, Skrulls have played Nick Fury for decades. So who's to say this isn't a Skrull that went home to his wife?
Exactly, because they have their own civil war going amongst themselves. They have that. So you might need a gun for your own protection to see, like, yo, I need to make sure this person's who it is. Blast what I gotta do. I gotta survive mode. I get that. But this also tells me that the next movie is the Marvels. So just him being up there in space, I feel like the Marvels would have got sent down already to deal with Gravik.
That's a good point.
Maybe I don't know, but I just feel like if it was a point where like it's world war, like I understand that he wants to do that, but then how does the Russian spy, I mean British intelligence, all them play a part? Lady in Red, like how does she play in this whole thing? You don't introduce her character just for her to be a side by right now. Like she's going to do something.
Yeah. Well, I think it's, obviously the people who are in the know about this threat.
Yeah.
It's not just Nick Fury and the United States government. It's all the governments of the world, right? Man, but I think again, like I was saying about like the Skrulls and like Gravik's faction moving a little bit arrogantly because they think, oh, we can catch these humans off guard because we can shapeshift into anyone. But they're forgetting that there are Skrulls on the other side of the aisle too, and we can trick y'all just as much as y'all can trick us. So you might, to your point, you might think you're talking to Fury, or you might think you're talking to Talos, or someone in the U.S. government that you think is your Skrull buddy, and it could be a different Skrull person. Like you don't know.
You know what? This is my last hot take before we get out of here. The pods, bro. The pods. The fact that he went back to the pods, and how there were so many of them, and how we know the person's not dead once they take over their life. I think that War Machine gets awakened in episode 5. I think he's back there in those pods. I think what happens is they kill the president. They go back there and they get the pods, and then next thing you know, Armor Wars is because he has to come back, and you actually get him back to what he is. I really think that's going to happen.
I mean, yeah, I don't think. I mean, we know Rhodey's a Skrull at this point, but to your point, I don't think that they're going to kill him off. Like he's going to come back in some way, right? And he has to come back.
Go back in the pod. They're going to wake him up, and it's going to change everything. I think Lady in Red and all of them are going to discover the pods and break that whole entire thing open. The gun battle you see with Fury's wife and everything next episode, I think that's actually at the lab. In my personal opinion. Because she said, where's the exit door? When she cut the Skrull's finger off. Like, she already looking for escapes and everything. She also discovered Nick Fury's eye. She's also playing her own game. The sister of Gravik, we haven't mentioned her yet and how she was able to walk out freely. They're playing their own game. I think they're going to attack that base. And then you're going to have basically duplicates of everybody in the world and go in the shits.
Oh. Yeah, it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better.
Yes,
that is for damn sure. Which makes me think now that we know. I mean, we suspected that there were going to be some Avengers characters that were going to be Skrulls. Now that we know it's confirmed that it's at least Rhodey. Who else? And for how long have they been Skrulls? It's just like now I'm starting to look back at all this stuff. Like you said, like the Civil War situation where Rhodey really should have died, and he was all but paralyzed afterwards. But then he made a miraculous recovery.
And this is, oh my gosh, I didn't think about this stuff now. This is freaking brilliant for Civil War 2. If you have not read Civil War 2 comic book, please go read it. Because Rhodey and the Marvel and just how the connection is in their relationship and how things go south, and that book plays a significant role in the future of the MCU.
And this is not the first time you've said this. I do not think we're going to get a Civil War 2 anytime soon.
It doesn't have to. This is like they're just slow roasting it, bro. This is just like rotisserie chicken that is having time.
I mean, it's. I'm not saying it's not possible.
Okay,
but I don't know. I feel like they already have the next phase of the MCU already planned out, and I don't see where Civil War 2 fits in. Now, if you want to make an argument that like after this and Armor Wars and we get Thunderbolts, now we've got the bad guys in charge of all the governments, and now some of the new Avengers have to come in, and I could see that being a premise for Civil War 2, but they've made no indication that that's what we're getting.
We need a hot take board for New Black Nerd podcast, and like just have it for like the series, and then we go back and revisit this. Like that didn't work out. Boy, we got this right. Like we should just do that just to see what the hell.
Well, look, because some of these. It's all speculation. We've gotten a couple of these right. Like we knew Super Skrulls were going to happen. I think it was one of us said that Rhodey was probably going to be a Skrull. That's for sure going to happen. And then we've got a couple hot takes about Fury, and I'm very confident about my Fury takes.
Oh my gosh! All right, bet. Let's I owe you a drink if you're right about Fury. I personally, I don't think that's Fury, bro. I don't think that's Fury. It's Fury, but it's not Fury. It's not. When I come to your town, I will buy you a drink, bro. This is.
And I'll give you credit if Fury ends up being like a different Skrull, which is also highly likely.
It's just the fact of him being so much. Anyway, we can go on dragging this for hours. This is amazing. I cannot wait for episode 4. I just can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait for the second half of this season. Guys, we'll be back next week to definitely break down episode 4 when it drops. Let us know your theories. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share it with your friends. Do all the things. Super excited for the rest of this season. We are at the halfway point, and I feel like the fuckery will only continue. So I've been Prince, Darron. It's a pleasure as always, and we will catch you guys on the next one.
Peace and love. It's not Nick Fury.